Another brick fan with an Indiana Jones set. This is Temple of the Golden Idol. This is set 77015, was released in April 2023. It has 1,545 pieces, 4 minifigures, 5 I guess if you count that skeleton that's sitting back there. And it cost about $150 when it was released. This set is done in a diorama style, as you can see. It is a representation of the opening scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark, where Indiana Jones and the Sapito, who is his little companion that went into the tomb, and it has a lot of the different features that we saw in the tomb. So we're going to take a look at each of these sections. As you can see, there's quite a bit of detail in each section. And then we'll take a look at the minifigures as well. So let's start with the diorama itself. Taking a look at the diorama, let's start right here at the very front of the diorama. And you see that we have a saying on it. So this is similar to the ones they did for Star Wars last year. There were 3 different ones of those. But here you have the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now these are stickers, unfortunately, instead of prints, but there are stickers there. Sapito says, "Let us hurry. There is nothing to fear here." And then, of course, Indiana Jones stops him and says, "That's what scares me." Really nice little scene. And like I said, this shows kind of them going in. So there's the section, the first section. Let's go ahead and start there. This first section has a couple of different things in it. So first, when they walked into this temple, so kind of the entrance is right here, as you can see, kind of vines and different plants leading them in from the outside. Then there is the spiders. So you might remember the spiders that ended up on Sapito's back. Indy brushed them off. So there's 3 spiders in here. There's, of course, some stalagmites on the base here that are growing up. There's this skeleton in here, and then the dart trap, or the spear trap, is kind of back here, right here in the corner. Might be a little difficult to see, but there are some teeth here used for the spear trap. And then, of course, on the way out, there's this falling rock, and this has many action features. So if you turn this, you'll see that the rock spins down. So that is a really cool way to do that. So the rock is all brick built. So this rock is brick built, and then there's a really nice little action feature there, and it locks the rock up in place. So if you just turn it just slightly and then let it go, it will roll down on its own. So you get that little feature there, which is pretty well done, I thought. The rock looks very authentic there. And it is 100% brick built. There was a different version of this released in 2008. I'll put a picture up here, and the rock was actually a plastic rock. You know, it was just more of a circular thing. It was not brick built. So nice to see a different take on that. And this is a much bigger set as well. Moving into the center section here, you see there's some more trees. There's a lot of these faces are done, and I like the way they did this with putting the brick there with the open end underneath there to show kind of a mouth. There's another little idol with some teeth and things like that, some vines in there. There's a tree in the back, just all kinds of little tiny details in here. There's this wheel done in pearl gold with that frame done with antennas and bar pieces, which makes for an interesting little decoration. Then, of course, there is this pit here in the middle. That pit is where they swung across the pit there. So this is where Indy and Sapito, they had to exchange the whip. So that will swing a minifigure across the little chasm there using this dial. This one on the other side, it's going to be maybe difficult to see. Let's see if we can do it from this side. If you look in here, there is this opening here. This one, when you turn it, drops down this wall here. See if I can get a little more light in there. There is actually a sticker in there. My little tiny complaint here is that the sticker is not centered. Well, it's centered on the wall, but the wall and the opening are not centered with each other. So you don't get to see the entire sticker. But this dial here lifts and lowers that block wall. So this is what was supposed to trap them in the temple if they tried to steal the idol. So that was a pretty cool little action feature as well. So that's the middle section. Then we finally go into the kind of temple section itself. We'll zoom out just a little bit and then go back in. So you can take in the whole temple with the idol here. This golden idol is a really nice little mold. There's all kinds of faces back there. Some brick built, some are stickers. There's even a minifigure one here. I'll throw up a example. Let's take a look really quick at the sticker sheet so you can get an idea of all of the different stickers. You can see as you can see on the sticker sheet, there's at least 9 different faces. And then some other little decorative items. Of course, the Raiders of the Lost Ark and the quote there. But zooming in here, you'll see where all of those different faces are. So there's a couple up there. There's a bunch down here in kind of the main area. Here's that golden idol itself, which I thought turned out very nicely. It's a really good mold done in that metallic gold color, which is nice. Some more faces done here with the stud on the side bricks and the bricks with the holes in them to represent eyes and things. Sometimes they're using studs to represent eyes. Overall, a really nice job in creating multiple different faces. Now, some of these parts, so like these skulls here are printed and these pieces are printed. The little decorative items in the front of the diorama are all printed. So it is a mixture of prints and stickers. But let's zoom out one more time and take a look at the other action feature that we have here in this section. So that turning this just slightly will turn on a light. It might be hard to see, but there's a light brick up here that gets turned on, and then the statue drops down, as you see, and then the light goes out. If you continue turning this, what it does is it breaks this idol out of it and it just falls down. And it's all on chains and stuff in here, so it doesn't fall completely down. But that represents when Indy switched the idol for the bag of dirt and obviously got the weight wrong, which it detected that the idol was left, and so it caused the trap to activate. There's also a little torch over here without any flame on it, so I suppose you could put a flame on that to represent a lighted torch. Now that we've taken a look at all of the little action features on this diorama, let's go and take a close look at the 4 minifigures. The skeleton, like I said, probably could count as a minifigure, but they don't count that as a minifigure on the box, and it's a standard skeleton that you've probably seen in many other sets. As I mentioned in the beginning, officially this set comes with 4 minifigures. There is a skeleton build, of course, that is in the back there of the diorama. So this set includes the 4 named characters, which is Indiana Jones, Zapato, a Helvetos warrior, and Belloc, who is, of course, Indiana Jones's rival in this movie. And as you see, here's Indiana Jones. He's got that bag that he used to exchange for the idol. Of course, he has his whip piece as well. He's wearing a shoulder satchel and this newer fedora hair combo, which I think looks really good. As I mentioned in the other reviews, Indiana Jones used the same hairpiece or hat hairpiece, the same face and the same legs in all 3 sets. This is the same torso he had in Escape from the Lost Tomb. So there's basically 2 new Indiana Jones torsos, one with a tie and one with just the open collar here. The legs are printed nicely with this gun holster as well as a belt there. So overall, I think Indiana Jones looks really good. Zapato here has the gray legs with no printing, but you can see he's got this kind of tan jacket. Looks like he's sweating or maybe just has some dirt on him from his travels. He's got a belt there. Kind of a scared expression here, and Indy's got a pretty neutral expression on his face. There's that satchel there on the side. Now here is Zapato's got the tarantulas or big spiders on his back there that Indy, of course, brushed off. And then here, Indy, now this head I guess is different because it has a different face on it. This is a face with a bunch of cobwebs on it. So when he was running out of the tomb, he went through all of those cobwebs again. And then here's Zapato kind of freaking out with a screaming type face. So two really nice minifigures that are representing a couple of different scenes from, or a couple of different parts of this opening scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark. So here we have our other two minifigures. This is the Hovatos or Hovitos warrior with a bow and arrow here. I think some of them also had dart guns or blow darts, but obviously Lego doesn't have one of those molds. The printing for our Hovitos warrior is really nice. He's got the war paint on his face here and some more paint on his chest, wearing some beads and other basic jewelry, and then of course just a loincloth. They're in a very tropical environment, I suppose. Belloc has this pith helmet, a little smile on his face here. He's got a kind of a tan outfit. His jacket is actually a little bit similar to Sabato's, and then he's got the brown belt here. He's carrying a 6-shooter in this case. No side printing on either of these figures, but you do see that looks like Belloc was sweating a little bit, and then the continuation of that jewelry for the Hovatos warrior. He does have an alternate expression, but I don't think Belloc does because of the hat. He doesn't not wearing a hairpiece, so he only has that one expression. And then just real quickly, this is not listed, of course, as a minifigure on the box, but it is essentially a minifigure with this skeleton torso here, the skeleton face, and then the arms and legs for the skeleton. So 4 named minifigures and a 5th as this skeleton. Let's go back and I'll give you my final thoughts on the set. Overall, this diorama is very detailed. There's 4 different little action features that are very well integrated into this. So the bases are built with Technic rods that go through underneath the base to create that effect. And then there's a bunch of workings on the back. Let's go ahead and show that to you really quick. So looking at the back, you see there's all this Technic over here, these little Technic rail pieces that allow for making all of this action here. Everything from this little connector that lights up the light brick to the one that pushes up and drops this idol face, and then the pieces down here move the golden idol down. This is the bar that swings that section back and forth. This is, of course, the bar that lifts and lowers the wall there. And you see they use this bigger brick here on a Technic pin to add a little more tension into that, which helps it move slower and not just fall down. And then this, of course, is the brick, the ball. So you see this is the locking mechanism that locks it up here on the top. And then when that comes around here, it falls down and rolls down this little gear area here and then locks it back in place on top. The sections are joined together, and then there's some Technic pins down here that keep them connected so that the set stays together. So a wonderful display model, kind of expensive. It sits right at the 10 cent per piece, 1,545 pieces for $150. So right at that 10 cents per piece, which I think is still a pretty good value. I mean, you get a lot of action features, you get 4 nice minifigures as I showed you, and lots of detail and very interesting visual effect and action features with this set. So the value of this is really good, especially if you're a fan of these dioramas or a fan of the Indiana Jones series itself. Like I said, this is a much bigger and more detailed model than the original. I put a picture of the original up earlier. And a great addition to this Indiana Jones collection. Unfortunately, we only got 3 Indiana Jones sets. There was a 4th scheduled, but it got canceled because it was based on the Temple of Doom, and there seems to be a lot of sensitivity around that, which is unfortunate because I think that would have been really nice to get an updated set from Temple of Doom. So we got 2 sets from Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is this one and the Escape from the Lost Tomb. And then we got 1 set from the Last Crusade, which is the fighter plane chase. I've reviewed all of those, so please check those out. Hope you've enjoyed my thoughts on this Indiana Jones set from Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm going to get started on my next video, and until then, happy building. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe to see more of my content. I've left a link to my other Indiana Jones reviews up here on the screen.